Well, hello there, listeners. It's Christina from the Christina Groombridge Show, and I'm currently at Mindspace in Stamford, a charity that I started off with in December 2018. And I haven't been able to come here for many months due to coronavirus. And I decided, you know what, they've reopened their support group, and I've just done a shift at Second Helpings, and I made my way over here. So I'm joined by one of my dear friends, Andy Russell. Hello there, Andy. And one of the volunteers, Jenny. Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
So if I just start with you, Andy, you and I met in December 2018 when Mindspace was actually running in the shack. And would you like to share how you started with Mindspace and what it's done for you? How has it helped you?
Oh my goodness. I started off when Dan started it at the cafe, and I went there because I was so low, because my wife's poorly, and Dan and Cassie met me at the door, and I don't know how, but they gave me a real boost. I went out happy, not for long, and then when we went to the shack, I started helping, getting things ready and meeting the other people, and it just lifted my spirit and made me forget other things. It's got me out of the house. So I don't know what else I can say.
So how many years have you actually been attending, when did it start?
I haven't got a clue.
But it's been a few years now.
Yeah, I don't remember when it started. When it started off, Dan did forum or something in the church, St George's Church, and then they've got the cafe in St Mary's Street.
So if we just talk about that, Dr Dan Petri is a GP in Stamford, and he realised that there was a gap in services within the NHS for support for mental health, and he decided that he wanted to do something himself. So when you refer to this cafe, which we have had sessions in there when we've needed to, is a cafe that is just open to the public. But one evening a week, they would allow Dr Dan Petri to go in there and allow the general public that needed support for mental health to have free teas and coffees and to use their cafe. So what was the name of this cafe?
The name?
The name?
I don't remember.
Fine Foods.
So it's Fine Foods
Fine
Cafe,
Foods.
and so it used to run once a week, and then eventually from there we went to what I would have thought was like a youth group, wasn't it, Andy?
A shack.
It was a shack.
Yeah.
It had a pool table, it had board games, sofas, a little kitchenette, and then from there we went to Stamford Methodist Church, which is where Second Helpings is, and that's how I met Second Helpings, where I volunteer now. And we're now in their new premises down Broad Street. That's been open about a year now, hasn't it? It's nearly a year.
I should think so.
And it's been a long time since I've been able to come. And they've started up these Wednesday sessions, which I think is fantastic. But there's other things that they do as well. I mean, you talk about art therapy. Tell me what you do with that and why you enjoy it, Andy.
Well, it's actually just finished now. It was a 12-week course, and the lady in charge gets you to use colours and things. You don't have to be able to draw, and to open up about things that's bothering you. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not very good at that.
I mean, you've got it really tough because your wife has been in hospital for quite some time, hasn't she? How many years has she been in hospital now?
About 5, probably.
And so, you visit your wife as often as you can. But, it's not the marriage that you were expecting. You were expecting to be with her, living at home and doing all those things. And
to be honest, I don't expect anything. No, I don't.
I didn't mean it that way, but
It's something she just ill. She can't help it. So
she can't help it. But you know what? When I watch your page and you share what you do with her. I mean, you've had earlier this year, you've done like a picnic and you post about the highs and lows, Andy. And I think you're an amazing husband, and the love you have for her really, really shows. Now, you just don't access support from Mindspace. You also access support from other charities as well, don't you? What other charity do you access support from?
I don't know. I can't remember what I do.
I know that you go to another one with people around your age as well.
Oh, Carers First.
That's right.
Oh, right, yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that because we haven't been seeing because of COVID. We've not met up. I forgot about it.
So,
My memory's bad.
So that's given you support as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's all carers. It's really good.
But with Mindspace, you know, we're like a big family, and so, you know, it's been a while since I've come, but, you know, we'd all have cake and a cup of tea and just talk and, you know, support each other. And I think that's really important. So to have that service here in Stamford, you know, it's priceless.
Yeah, it is.
And like you say, it's been so hard with COVID because, you know, to get anything face to face is so difficult now at the NHS. So for Mindspace to reopen and allow people to, you know, social distance but to be able to do this is actually amazing. But, you know, we've got a bit of a story to tell, Andy, haven't we? Because, you know, we knew each other through Mindspace for a while. And then, cut a long story short, I went to a funeral of a friend of mine about a year or so ago, and unbeknown to me, someone that I knew from, you know, many, many years ago when I was, you know, an early teenager, had come all the way from the Philippines to come and be in England to do a bit of work, but also to attend this funeral. And he had shared some pictures of it on Facebook. And when you had a look, you recognised me in one of those photographs.
I did.
And you didn't know that me and your son went way back.
Yeah.
I mean, many, many years ago. And, you know, to find out that he was your son, the Jack and I, as you know, we call him Jack Russell, Jason he's known now, you know, to see him, because I hadn't seen him for so long. And, you know, before he went back to his wife and his children in the Philippines, you know, he did come to Mindspace when it was at Stamford Methodist Church, and he did come and spend time with us, and it was wonderful. So, you know, we made a friendship, but I never knew. It took a very long time to find out that, you know, you were the dad of someone that I'd known for a very, very long time. I mean, we even went to see Motorhead in Brixton. You know, I did so many things. So I had to share that story. But anyway, what I'd like to say is it's so good to see you. I'm going to make an effort to come again next week. And you take care, Andy.
And you.
Okay, well, I'm now going to talk to Jenny. So you've got to go. So say goodbye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
See you next week. Yeah. Take care. Bye-bye.
I will do.
Bye.
So, Jenny, you know, you're a recovery volunteer as well, aren't you? I'm one myself, but I'm not currently doing it at the moment. But, you know, for someone like me, when I came here for support, you get to a stage where you feel that you're strong enough to be able to give back, and then you can go on the course to learn about mental health, so you're prepared to give back to others. So we went on the same course, didn't we?
We did the listening course.
Yes, we did. So
Yes.
do you want to talk about what made you come to Mindspace? How long have you been coming to Mindspace, and what made you want to be a recovery volunteer?
Well, I've been coming to Mindspace about 18 months now, but 13 years ago I had a major physical and mental breakdown, leading to hospitalisation, psychology. Anyway, 13 years on, I'm here now. When I was in my early recovery time, I did volunteering at the Mind Shop in Stamford, and then grandchildren came along, so I was no longer doing the Mind Shop, grandchildren are at school, and always, since the day I was discharged from being poorly, I'd always wanted to be able to give something back, because I had been given so much help and support to get me to who I am today. And it just so happens I was in Sainsbury's in Stamford, and I saw a Mindspace flyer, and I thought, this is for me. So I phoned and had my induction, and here I am today.
So you did it a bit different to me. You know, I came here for support, whereas you didn't come for support. You decided to go straight into wanting to be a recovery volunteer.
Yes.
I can imagine what happened to you a few years back was painful, but would I be allowed to ask you a couple of questions about that to share your experience? Would that be all right?
Yes.
So you talk about a physical and mental breakdown. How would you describe that?
Well, the mental breakdown, I completely depersonalised, where you're just completely withdrawn. Everything's like a film around you. And are you okay?
Yes, I need to hear this because I think it's important for our listeners to understand what it's like to go through that, and it's important that you share your story. So yes, continue.
Yes, so, and just completely not here at all, not able to string words together, not able to look after myself, terrified to go out. On the physical side, my body just gave up on me as well and wouldn't respond. So
Obviously you reached crisis point. Who recognised you were in crisis? How did you end up in hospital?
Well, it was a long story. I ended up in hospital because, we couldn't get any help, any support. So I went to a hospital in Northampton and had privately for three weeks. And then when I was discharged from there, we got into the NHS system.
And how long were you with the NHS system? So just to explain to our listeners, you were given a section, is that right?
No.
Oh, you weren't?
No.
So you actually sought support on your own privately?
Yes.
But had you probably gone to the NHS, I would have felt that with your symptoms, you would have been sectioned under the Mental Health Act.
No, because of my fear of going out and needing to get back out into the world again. That would have been the worst thing that could have happened to me. I had to be I could go in and out. Obviously, I was there full time, but yeah, had to be encouraged to go outside.
Okay, my apologies for not understanding how it worked for you. Normally when someone gets sectioned, they lose their mental health capacity, and that means that they can lose their rights. You obviously had your mental capacity, but you were unable to look after yourself, unable to leave the house, and unable to communicate the way that you wanted to. You just shut off. So you were very lucky to go through the private route of getting that support. So in total, how long would you say you stayed as an inpatient in hospitals?
About 4 months.
And after that, did you get the aftercare from the NHS?
Yes, I did, with the Stamford Resource Centre.
So what did that entail?
It entailed psychology, a care coordinator, and daily activities.
So, if you could just quickly tell us, because I know we're about to close, and if I could, I'd talk to you a bit more. But do you know what, Jenny? We can always do this another time, where we can talk about all sorts of different things. You're more in depth about your recovery period. I was just so happy to see you and Andy. So just even having this opportunity to do this, for you to share your story is just amazing. But we will talk about this more. But you know, with that length of time, and you had the Stamford Resources Centre, I mean, how long did you have them on board? Because I can imagine, you know, you probably had a CPN coming to your house, psychiatric nurse. You know, you're under the care of a psychiatrist. I'm sure you're getting forms of counselling. And then obviously, you know, they had to try and integrate you back into the community. How did they do that?
Taking us out on trips and meeting people.
Through your CPN or a support worker?
No, this was through the staff at the resource centre.
So you got a really high level of service. You were really well looked after. You're very lucky because it doesn't happen to everyone like that. And what would you say would be, you know, how long has it taken you to get to where you are now?
3 years.
3 years. Oh my goodness. So you've had about 10 years of a tough time. I'm really sorry, Jenny. You know, I'm working the maths for myself and thinking, gosh. But you know, I think by being a survivor and giving back to others, you know, if there's any signs where you feel like you're falling, I think there's a willingness of thinking, I've been to hell, I'm not going back there again. So whenever you feel like you're slipping, you know the consequences of what could happen. And you've just got to keep fighting. So, you know, if I was to say right now, you know, we've had a hard year. It's been, you know, a worldwide crisis over a terrible situation over COVID-19. If you could say the couple of positives of this year and what you're looking forward to, what are your goals for 2021? Before we come to a close, I'd really like to know, Jenny.
Well, it's been having time to stand back and appreciate the countryside and all the natural things. Yoga, I've been enjoying doing yoga.
And who have you been doing that with?
A lady that does the Mindspace yoga.
So you do that face to face, as in physical, or is
Zoom.
it Zoom? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so accessing Mindspace during this time has been beneficial to you. So we've got Christmas coming up, and you know, your ambitions now for the new year. What do you want to happen next year? What is your focus?
Oh, to stay healthy and happy.
And to continue with Mindspace?
Oh, definitely.
So what would you say is the most beneficial thing about being a recovery volunteer? Because when I did it, it's having the knowledge and understanding of what it's like to hit rock bottom. So when you hear someone else's story, even now I'm holding back the tears. You know what that feels like, so you have an empathy and an understanding that someone can't relate to if they've never been through it before, because it's really tough. So, you know, what would you say is the most rewarding part of your volunteering role? That's well deserved, you know, because you know it's not just given to you on a plate. You've got to do your course. You've got to go and get enhanced DBS checked, and you know, you've got to be strong enough to be able to give back to others. So what would you say you like the most about your job?
Being able to support people and hopefully help them to get better, get some more enjoyment, satisfaction from their lives.
I mean, what can I say, Jenny? You're an inspiration. You're a survivor and a fighter. And like I said, I would like to touch base and find out a bit more, because I think it's important for others to know that they're not alone, that you know, by people like us sharing our stories, it gives hope that, you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel, but you've got to want it and you've got to fight for it. And you've also got to accept help, because no one can do it alone.
No.
No magic pill there, is there, Jenny? You know, it's a lot more than that. And if you want to get to where you are, you've actually got to do a lot of the hard work yourself. Because, you know, it took you 10 years. And I know from looking at your eyes, you're smiling. But, you know, unfortunately, we can't see that. So thank you very much for your time, Jenny. And I hopefully will see you next week.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be here.
Okay, well, that's Christina from the Christina Groombridge Show signing out at Mindspace in Stamford. And what can I say? After all this time of not being here, it was an absolute pleasure, but also a very warm welcome to just be able to sit on the sofa, talk to people that I knew, have a cup of tea and a banter, and just be myself. So I intend to come back again. So this is Christina from the Christina Groombridge Show signing out. Goodbye.